there is a new teaser trailer for the Nicolas Cage Spider-Noir live-action TV show from Amazon Studios. Now, this is fascinating for a multitude of reasons. One, we're getting a live-action Spider-Man TV show, which is crazy. It's not something I would have ever pictured happening, period. But the first live-action Spider-Man TV show that we're getting is on an extremely niche variant version of Spider-Man Noir, who it has been popularized by the first Into the Spider-Verse, where he's played by Nicolas Cage. And I guess he was so much of a hit that they've actually gone ahead and created an actual show from it. Now, this is from an interesting time period. We're going to do a quick history lesson before we watch this teaser, which I'll go ahead and cue it up. It's ready here. It's in the background. It's just a teaser, so let's not get too excited. This is from a rights perspective, such an interesting thing. So, for those of you who don't already know, I'm sure most people know at this point because it's such like historic like legality stuff as it comes to film and television rights. But Spider-Man as a character, the rights to make a movie surrounding Spider-Man and to make a TV show surrounding Spider-Man were sold off in the 90s because Marvel was like going bankrupt, which is crazy to think about. There was a time where Marvel was like about to close its doors. They would just sell off rights willy-nilly. And one of the things they did with Spider-Man was they sold an exclusivity deal with Sony. That's what ultimately got us the Sam Raimi trilogy, the Andrew Garfield movies. And this was pre-Blade. Yeah, Blade was one of the fastest to develop that were sold off. Gosh, who had the Blade rights? It might have been New Line Cinema. But regardless, Sony owned the exclusivity rights for Spider-Man, and after The Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't work really well, Amy Pascal, who was president of Sony Pictures at the time, and Kevin Feige, who's president of Marvel Studios, had a very famous meeting. There's a really fun story about that meeting where Amy Pascal got so mad at Kevin Feige, she threw a sandwich at him. But essentially, the conversation was, hey, you guys are really struggling to build Spider-Man out into anything more than just Spider-Man. Bring him into the MCU. We will produce the movie at you. I'm sorry. What kind of sandwich? I don't know. It's a sub. Something long and throwable. Bring Spider-Man into the MCU. We will produce the movies for you. You just front the bill, but you get the profits. In the end, it kind of works out for Disney better too, because Disney does own the merchandising rights for Spider-Man. So every time a Spider-Man movie comes out and they make toys and video games and everything, it actually goes back into Disney's pocket. But regardless, while this is cooking up, trying to fix the live action arm of Spider-Man production, on the side, Sony's like, what if we try an animated movie? And ultimately, that's what Into the Spider-Verse was, where we saw the first version of Spider-Man Noir by Nick Cage. To be clear, Spider-Man Noir was not created by Nick Cage. He just played him in the movie and is playing him in this show. I love that y'all are so tunneled in on this sandwich. Please keep speculating while I do my little history lesson here. So all that to say, in the movie world, in the movie theater world, they begin working with Marvel to figure out if they can fold a new Spider-Man into the MCU and all the benefits that would come from there. On the side, the animation struck gold with Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's undoubtedly one of the best animated movies, period, but it's also probably the best Spider-Man movie. And that pains me to say sometimes because I really love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But essentially, because that movie does so well, Sony gets excited again, and they think that they can really do more by themselves. So they famously greenlight a bunch of different projects under a television umbrella, which Sony doesn't necessarily have its own television division. So they partnered with Amazon Studios, which is now Amazon MGM, and they were working on a Silk TV show based on Cindy Moon, who I was very excited about. That ultimately fell through. And then they were working on this one, which they made, and it's coming out, which is crazy. So all of that to say, the teaser just came out about an hour ago. We're gonna watch it, but first I need to understand, did we come to a consensus on what kind of sandwich? Paninis are too sharp. Remember, at the end of the sandwich throwing, they did come together and make a $1 billion deal. So I don't think that was a panini. It's gotta be a sub sandwich. Because look, she's a president of a film studio. She's sitting back. It's got a big desk. She's eating lunch at her desk because she's a working professional. Like, to get the sandwich over, and I believe in this story, he was standing. So, like, you can't do a flat sandwich. It can't be a square sandwich because that, too much wind resistance, it'll fall apart. He'll basically be getting hit with, like, lettuce and cheese, and it's not going to be anything. Yeah, like a sword. Avast ye. Alright, let's... all sandwich aside, all history lesson aside, let's watch this teaser, y'all. What's the audio? This is amazing. So the other thing I saw about this too, it will be releasing in both color and black and white. But I mean, come on, a show like this, you gotta watch it in black and white. Like, that's the whole point. Yeah, this is totally very Sin City coded. They really turned this production around quickly. I can see this is totally shot on the volume. Which definitely helps with production. And I definitely think that this show, like the whole premise of Spider-Noir, like even in the comic books, and I've read very limited Spider-Noir. I don't think I read the original run, but I did read when they brought it back together for the initial Spider-Verse run. I read one of the offshoots. And it's set in like, you know, 1920s classic detective, like classic noir story setting. I think this looks super fun. Like, this shot is super cool with the lighting all high contrast. What I hope they do better than Sin City did, and not to knock Sin City, because man, they were really trying something. There's this really good video essay I saw a while back, but it was about Logan, how Logan had a black and white cut, which if you haven't seen it, the film is gorgeous in black and white, but it's a lot about the intentionality of high contrast filmmaking, and there's so many different avenues where it's like so important, like shots like this even, like you really need to be intentional about your contrast, about your staging, because you don't have color to make up for a lot of it. So shots like this, where it's like very, very motivated lighting and very clear, I just can't imagine how you watch this in color. Like, this is so cool. Yeah, Carrot, to your point, like, that's something that, again, if it was just releasing in black and white, it would be so interesting to consider what they were doing in order to make the colors feel more intentional. This was something they famously did in WandaVision, where they actually painted Paul Bettany as the Vision. They actually painted him blue for the black and white sequences because it showed up better on the cameras. This is really grainy, but you can kind of see the difference there for when they desaturated it. So something like that you could get away with if it was exclusively black and white. But the fact that they're releasing it in color makes me think they may be doing more of a Sin City of it and a lot of touch-ups, a lot of recoloring. But the point I was mostly getting at is like what's really challenging and what films like Sin City kind of struggled with back in the day is shot design in black and white with modern action sequences. And I think that's something that Logan did really well. And from this short clip, like, it looks like they're being intentional about it here. So cautiously optimistic, but yeah, shots like this, like, I'm sure there is, well, maybe there's not real light coming off because he's got there's no light reflecting from up there, no light coming off of him. So like, that's probably all digital. Spider-Noir, man, that's crazy. I can't believe we're getting this. I hope they don't release it in color, because then people are going to watch it in color instead. It's going to take all the heart out of it. People are just too scared. They're too scared for something different, you know? Well, in any case, I'm really excited. I think this has a lot of potential to be really fun. I don't think this is going to knock the doors out for more live action Spider-Man TV shows, but maybe.